Howdy doody, good friends, and welcome to the Mad Painter Show. Today's topic is doing and being. Have you ever seen someone in public and they're one person, but when you are with them in private, they're not who they showed themselves to be out there? Or let's even go with us. Are there things that we're doing that we're not one with? Because we could be working all kind of jobs and doing all kind of things and be working and not presently there in what it is that we're doing. Well, this question came up with this kind of came along with the question of what would Jesus do? And in considering that question, oh my God, I'm getting nervous. In considering that question, I went deeper into, well, in order for us to know what he was doing, we had to know what he was thinking. Then as I got more into his mind, it became a thing of, who is he? Because when it comes to our thinking, it's a part of our being too. And it's a wholeness connection type of thing. So then what I've paid attention to, that cuppeth overfloweth. What I paid attention to, if we're full of whatever it is that we're full of, let me reword that. Whatever it is that we're full of, it's gonna overflow. It's gonna overflow. So that overflowing of what we're full of, let's just say, shift how we respond to outside stimuli. It can make us react one way, or it can cause us to step back and go, what do you say about this, Father? So in considering this doing and being, now in researching Christ, we see all of these wonderful things that he has done as far as walking the water, resurrection, rising dead people, changing water into wine. And I mean, we can make a lot of money out of that one. You know what I'm saying? But spirits upon spirits upon spirits. But that wasn't his mission. And in looking at this, of all those things that he did, and seeming like those were just some awesome things that he did. But now let's look at his personality. And in looking at, because this was one of the number one things that got me. We're all grown here, right? Because I want to make sure that we're grown, because I make sure I mark off for no kids before I say this comment, when I get ready to say this comment, okay? Okay, y'all ready? Okay, so it's the situation with this woman who had, a flowing of the blood for years. It wasn't just a monthly thing, it was a years, almost part of her lifetime type of thing. And so, in looking at how he healed her and all of this stuff was fixed, and when I first read this didn't come to me, but especially now we're going into the psychology of man, etc., etc., etc. I was like, he must have been some type of divine. He didn't think to pimp her out. Because there was a whole bunch of women in the camp, and it wasn't a thing in Mary. It was a whole bunch of Mary, so we're not talking about his mama. But it wasn't a thing like, girl, you see these disciples, there's a way that we can go about. He never thought like that. Even with the people, he wasn't like, bow down, kiss the ring. Do you know who I am? Do you know what they about to put on this grave? Boy, when I die, they gonna say the Lord, and the Kings. So it's like he wasn't like bow down and kiss the ring. And to look at all of these different ways in how he responded to peopling. Now that, baby, let's just move these miracles out the way, because of how he was dealing with people, and how he was dealing with his own flesh. That's a little bit bigger than thinking. And so here it is. It's like, bro, how? What? Like, how are you able to deal? I mean, think of customer service. Think of customer service on a very large scale. I don't know how many of y'all work in customer service or former customer service, but it can be extremely taxing. And I know it's discussion about taxes in the Bible, baby. The taxiness of customer service is way higher than whatever the United States is charging for is that state tax or who's ever taxed? Because them bad boys is. And he was at a constant, it's like, how, bro? How? So it's like, in, discussing with him and that how situation, he showed me, yeah, it was a thinking thing, but it also was a spiritual thing. Because greater is the energy and the spirit that is in us than is in the world. It's because of him. It's because of him. It ain't because of ourselves. And because if we only looking at our own everything, we'll never really understand someone else, especially when it comes to a relationship, because everybody else have their own experiences, perspective, foundation, understanding, etc., etc., etc. So then now we go back to Christ in this situation and this whole customer service thing. And it was like, so in this whole mind thing, I don't know how he was. I've talked about some of those things with him, and because I don't want to fully say I don't know how he went about doing that, because immediately my eyes went to the prayer reads, baby. So prayer is a thing where our mind can be heavily on something, and so heavy that it has a difficult time changing, and sometimes our minds can be made up on the wrong thing. And so that's when we tap on into our inside that has that red bat phone light. So we're making this phone call in prayer because that's when we're seeking something higher than us. So what I paid attention to with Christ, whether it was situations that was going on with him where he needed to have strength or whatever, or it was with the people, and dealing with that customer service. So in dealing with a high, I don't know if you've been around a lot of people, and especially everybody needs something. That's a high energy drawing. So it's taking a lot from you. I paid attention to how he was constantly talking to his dad. He was constantly praying. And so I've always, and I didn't plan on breaking this down, but this is kind of what came to me. And so in looking at this whole situation as far as with the battle of the religions, right? And how there's all this surface information, and we believe in, and I'll even go with the main religions. We'll go with Christianity, is it Judaism? And Islam, and we look at how Abraham is connected to all of those, and in seeking out all of these different people, and I paid attention to those who are constantly seeking. They are, I want to say, they would be part of the body. They are constantly seeking this relationship, seeking it, like regardless of their title. But then when we go to those people who are constantly battling over the surface stuff, the stuff that's not going to help you get to the relationship part, that's find out for yourself. But in asking God in this whole Christ situation, like, how do I look at that? Is Christ God? Is God God? That's confusion. So especially in looking at this relationship wise, and like a family, and he's like a brother and God is father. So and in looking at, because it's an onion, and I've mentioned this in other videos, but there are layers to these things. One day in having this, because if you listen to any of my other videos, it's been far as like how these answers come to you. So some answers I've gotten like this. Some answers, it's like, you're being processed for the answer so that you can better understand it, and be like, okay. So, in years of like reading, seeking this stuff out, talking to the father, talking to the brother, and then, you know, developing this whole family relationship and going through this love walk, it hit me one day. And it was while I was working. And it came to a thing where I wasn't getting what I was asking for, and I realized it was something that I had to do for myself, because people wasn't fully seeing the vision that I had, and they weren't able to deliver what it was that I was requesting. So it was like, okay, it's something that I need to do on my own. And God was like, yeah, that's just like what I did. And it was like, whoa. So in looking at this whole manifestation thing, here it is. This is just my perspective. I'm always telling you to find out on your own. Here it is. Since the beginning, you are working on having a relationship with your creation, with man that you made. And so, in seeing that, even in this thing, you know, it's a process. I mean, it's not like God didn't know it was a process, because it took him a process before he even got to man. So it's like he knows that there is a process. He has this big old plan for everybody and everything. You know what I'm saying? And so in looking at this plan and in recognizing there's a process, and even in creation there's a process and things. And here it is, there's this plan to develop this relationship. And seeing that man needs an example of how to go about doing these things, and even in connection with how, because we're now in the time of manifestation. Everybody want to manifest everything, and it's like, some things you can, but some things like, yeah, put your hands to. And so it's like, it was a thing where it's like, okay, he manifested himself in flesh form. So you have the spiritual entity, you have all these, because you got to consider in the beginning, he made us like the us of him. And so in looking at, okay, so in helping man to understand, let me go down here and talk to man, and like even in thinking about your kids, there are some people out there who got kids that you can't even tell they mixed with another person. They just spat that kid out, and that kid looks exactly like them. Like, did you just do this with yourself and pop out this kid? Because that kid looked just like you. Okay, I'll let that marinate. But anywho, so so it was like, you know, Mary wasn't raped. It wasn't a thing like, girl, had these kids. It was like, no, it was consensual. And in this consensual thing, she went on and agreed, because, you know, it's in connection with us having this free will, and she was willing to. And so in this pops up Christ through flesh form. So think of your manifestation. Here it is. You speak these things, and it materializes. So if you think you could do it, why not God? So I'm just saying, because he made this thing, and you know, if he has these things set up, systems set up, you know, so anywho, so we go back to Christ. So then, you know, he's like in flesh form, and it's like, la-di-da-di-da, like, you know, let me show the people. And in showing the people, and this where it comes down to this whole, it's amazing. It wasn't no bow down, kiss the ring. Look at all these women's I got. Boy, you thought Solomon had women's. Ha! So it's like, yes, here it is. He has all of this love. And it's not like, I just love these group of people over here. Man, this man was all over places telling people about these things. And what I realized, it's like, have you ever been in a place, like, here's another question. Have you ever been in a place that you just feel absolutely horrible? It was like a word that just changed and it made you feel absolutely horrible. But at the same time, it was a word that changed your mind. And that was just like, okay, I see what you're saying. I see you. Okay. So this is a thing where it's not just about what he did, what his hands was doing. It was look at the love that he had and the power that he brought down from the heavenly realm, because dad, he kept in communication with his dad. Now, we may have some effed up situations up in the family here, because people be peopling, and we have to recognize people be peopling. But look at the customer service operator. Look at how he took care. And if you don't know how he was dealing with the peoples, and it's not just customer service, it's family, it's friends, it's enemies, it's people who feel like they were in authority, it's people who feel like they were lower. And it's like, man, you gotta see how this love overflows, because that lion and that lamb whole situation ain't no joke. And you gotta find out. You gotta find out about it. It's interesting things, interesting reads, and a whole bunch of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. This is a relationship thing. So, no matter how much you feel like you may know me or someone else because you've seen the acts on the outside part, it's really what's on the inside part, because I'm going to be who I'm is. And I mean, that goes the same for you. And so this is not just a thinking thing into, because you can think your way in and out some ish, you know what I'm saying? But this is not just a thinking thing. This is okay, what is it that we do in this situation? What's happening here? And I guess we could really look at, well, what would Jesus do? Because almost in every answer is like, pray, my dudes, pray. Pray, people, because we don't seek this information out. It's not a thing where it's like, I know kind of a thing, unless it's a knowingness in this relationship, unless you getting one, and I ain't mean get nasty, but it's like you're getting one with it is so deep in this intimacy thing that it is an inside, outside, outside, inside thing. And it's not just outside, but it's on the inside. Because this feeling that people be talking about, it's not an emotional thing. I mean, there are times when you will feel emotion, but it's not an emotion. It's a feeling because you feel it within you. And sometimes you just ain't gonna feel nothing. You just have conversations and it's like, and you'll know it's telling you the truth. Or it's showing you that it's telling you the truth. But these are things that you need to find out and know the characteristics of and the being of, because when you drink that cup, it becomes you and it overpours. And it's not so much about the acts, the doing, but our being is what's going to make the doing so much bigger. I love you guys. God loves you even more, and find out why. Because he put this breath in you. And you live. You live in today. You are presently here. Unwrap that present. See what it's about. Because there's some layering to them boxes. You got to dig in because it's what's on the inside. Have a great day, guys. I'll have something special for us Thursday. Love you. If you like this, if it helped you out, share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Love you guys. God loves you more. Find out why.